This is not a threat, it is an extraction. As of 14:30 GMT, Prince George, Princess Charlotte, and Prince Louis of Wales have been taken, not by terrorists, not by criminals, by the United States Central Intelligence Agency. In a stunning unilateral breach of sovereignty and diplomatic protocol, CIA paramilitary officers operating on UK soil intercepted the children's motorcade after school. They presented emergency international custody warrants, overpowered the royal protection officers, and airlifted the children to an undisclosed location. This is not an act of war. It is an act of preventive custody based on evidence so shocking, so catastrophic to the line of succession that the CIA deemed the children to be in immediate, profound danger if they remained within the British royal family. That evidence, obtained by CIA forensic laboratories and shared with this network, proves one horrifying fact. The 3 Cambridge heirs are not the biological children of Prince William. Their biological mother is Meghan, the Duchess of Sussex. The future of the British monarchy has just been genetically annulled by American intelligence. The CIA's involvement began not with the royals, but with a counter-proliferation operation. They were tracking a network smuggling advanced biotech and human gamete material out of Silicon Valley to state actors in China and Russia. A key figure in that network was Dr. Guti, Alistair Vance, a disgraced, pioneering but ethically unbound reproductive geneticist. During a raid on Vance's Swiss vault, agents discovered a legacy archive, frozen genetic material, and detailed logs for his most sensitive celebrity clients. One client file, codenamed Project AEGIS, was for MM. The logs showed that in 2011, MM, verified as Meghan Markle, underwent an oocyte cryopreservation and comprehensive genomic mapping procedure with Vance. The objective, according to his notes, to preserve optimal maternal genetic material against future dynastic utility. In simpler terms, she froze her eggs and had her entire genome sequenced for future use. The shocking turn came in the implantation logs. Entries show that in 2012, 2014, and 2017, Vance's clinic performed discrete in vitro fertilization and embryo transfer procedures for a client listed as CM Catherine Middleton. The logs note the procedures used donor oocytes from source AEGIS and donor sperm from source Excalibur. Excalibur was Vance's code for anonymous, high IQ, athletic sperm donor. There is no genetic material from William in the logs. The CIA obtained discarded medical samples from the Princess of Wales's past hospital visits and from the children. The DNA results are irrefutable. Meghan Markle is the biological mother of all 3 Cambridge children. Catherine Middleton is their gestational carrier and legal mother, but not their genetic parent. William is genetically unrelated. The heirs to the throne are, in fact, the biological children of the woman the palace exiled, fathered by an anonymous donor. The motive and mechanics, according to CIA analysts, constitute a generational sleeper operation. Meghan, even before meeting Harry, was being advised by radical elements who saw the British monarchy as a corrupt colonial institution. Her alliance with Vance was to influence the genetic future of the crown. When she entered the royal family and saw Catherine's fertility struggles following Prince George's difficult birth, she saw her opportunity. She presented the solution of using a trusted friend's donor eggs to a desperate future queen, framing it as an act of sisterly compassion and ultimate discretion. Catherine, longing for more children and under immense pressure to produce heirs, agreed in total secrecy. William was told the children were conceived via advanced, anonymous donor IVF due to his own low sperm count, a lie to protect his masculine pride in the royal image. He believed the donors were anonymous strangers. He never knew the mother's genetic material came from the woman who would later marry his brother. The CIA concluded the children were now in active peril. If this truth emerged within the UK system, they would be seen as illegitimate implants and potentially eliminated politically, legally, or worse to protect the pure Windsor bloodline. The agency made the decision to secure the assets to prevent a potential dynastic purge. They kidnapped the heirs to save them from their own bloodline. For Prince William, the father who raised them, and Catherine, the mother who carried them, this is not a betrayal. It is an extinction-level event. Their family, their love, their shared history is real. But their genetic legacy is a lie, orchestrated by the woman they called sister. The CIA has not just taken their children, they have retroactively destroyed the foundation of their family. And the proof is signed, sealed, and delivered by the most powerful intelligence agency on Earth. The extraction was an act of unprecedented international aggression. The response from the United Kingdom is one of cold, volcanic fury. The Prime Minister has recalled the British ambassador from Washington and placed the Royal Navy's Special Boat Service and the RAF's 22 Special Air Service Regiment on standby alpha. This is not posturing. It is a preparation for a covert military operation to retake sovereign territory, the children. The UK has formally accused the United States of state-sponsored kidnapping and threatened to expose every CIA asset on British soil. In Washington, the White House is in chaotic, panicked denial. The president claims to have had no prior knowledge of the operation, blaming a rogue, ideologically compromised faction within the CIA's Directorate of Operations. The director of the CIA has been placed on immediate administrative leave, but the damage is done. The special relationship is not strained, it is cannibalizing itself over the genetic truth of the Windsor bloodline. The global constitutional crisis is instant and profound. With the Cambridge children in CIA custody and their paternity nullified, the direct line of succession has vaporized. Parliament is in an emergency session, debating the Succession Emergency Provisions Act, which would legally bypass the Cambridge line entirely and place Princess Anne and her descendants next in line. The monarchy is facing an existential genetic dead end manufactured in a Californian biotech lab. For Prince William and Princess Catherine, the world has ended twice. First, with the loss of their children. Second, with the annihilation of their parenthood. They have been briefed with the full horrific CIA dossier. Sources describe Catherine as catatonic, unable to process that her body was used as a vessel for her sister-in-law's genetic legacy. William's rage is terrifyingly silent, directed inward at his own ignorance and outward at the woman who calls herself his brother's wife. Their marriage, built on the shared project of raising a future king and queen, is now a shared crime scene. Every memory, every smile, every scraped knee, every birthday is now poisoned by the question, were we loving our children? Or were we nurturing Meghan's biological proxies? Their desperate priority is not the throne. It is getting their children back. William is personally directing UK Special Forces intelligence, cross-referencing satellite data with CIA flight logs. He has made it clear to the Prime Minister diplomatic channels are secondary. His children were taken from British soil. He will use any means to bring them home. The future king is preparing to go to war with the CIA. For Meghan Markle, the exposure is a cataclysmic trap. She is currently in protective FBI custody, not as a perpetrator, but as a biological asset of supreme interest. The CIA's rogue faction wanted the children. The FBI now wants her. They're interrogating her about Project AEGIS Vance and her exact arrangement with Catherine. Her defense, according to leaks, is that she was a willing donor helping a friend in need, that the use of her eggs was a compassionate private matter twisted by Vance and the CIA. But this defense frames her as having executed the most profound genetic infiltration in royal history, with or without malicious intent. Prince Harry's position is the most Kafkaesque of all. His wife is the biological mother of his brother's children. His nephews and niece are his genetic half-siblings. His own children, Archie and Lilibet, are the full biological siblings of the Cambridge heirs. The family tree is not just tangled, it is a hideous recursive loop. Harry is reportedly under sedation in a secure medical facility, unable to process the collapse of every familial boundary. He is both an uncle and a half-brother, a father and a brother-in-law to the same set of children. The CIA's rogue faction is now the world's most wanted. Their ideology, according to Intercepted Communications, was anti-monarchist, radical genetic activism. They believed exposing the illegitimate heirs would destroy the monarchy from within by proving its bloodline was a fraudulent, scientifically engineered construct. They saw kidnapping the children as securing evidence and protecting them from elimination. They are now fugitives, likely hiding in a non-extradition zone, with the three most famous children on Earth as their captives. The world watches, horrified and fascinated. The Cambridge children are no longer just princes and a princess. They are living evidence, priceless hostages, and genetic time bombs. Their smiling faces on lunchboxes and magazines now mask a truth so dark it has triggered an international standoff. The CIA kidnapped them with shocking proof. Now, the race is on to get them back before the truth they embody destroys a 1,000-year-old kingdom. or before they disappear forever into the shadow world of intelligence that stole them. Some truths are too catastrophic to be borne. Some children cannot be returned to the world that made them pawns. The resolution came not on a battlefield but in a sterile conference room in Geneva, brokered by the Swiss and the UN. The rogue CIA operatives were cornered in a safe house in Abkhazia. A joint MI6 FSB operation, a temporary surreal alliance of convenience, secured the perimeter. A negotiation was made through encrypted channels, the children for immunity and disappearance. The operatives, ideologues to the end, agreed. They released George, Charlotte, and Louis into the custody of a neutral UN agency. They then vanished into the Russian hinterlands, their fate irrelevant. The children were safe, but they could not go home. The genetic truth was a virus that would destroy the monarchy and haunt their every step. A grand constitutional compromise was forged in absolute secrecy. The Cambridge children would be officially, legally recognized as the heirs of William and Catherine. The CIA evidence would be locked in a vault deep within the Bank of England, accessible only to the monarch, the Prime Minister, and the chief of MI6, to be reviewed only upon each child's 25th birthday. The public story, a malicious biotech hoax by enemies of the state, thoroughly debunked. The children were victims of a cruel, fabricated plot. Their lives, however, would be lived at a remove. They were relocated to Highgrove, not Kensington Palace. Their education is private. Their public appearance is rare and heavily managed. They are being raised with the burden of a secret they do not yet know, to inherit a throne whose foundation they unknowingly shatter. William and Catherine are their parents in every way that matters, but their love is now armored with a devastating lie. Meghan Markle accepted a permanent global gag order. In exchange for never speaking of Project AEGIS, she was granted immunity and a life in strict, anonymous seclusion in a remote part of Canada. She exists as a biological footnote. Her connection to the future kings and queen of England, the most dangerous secret of the age. Harry remains with her, bound by the same silence, a man whose family has been genetically rewritten around him. King Charles and the institution moved forward, hardened and cynical. The magic of bloodline was gone, replaced by the cold mechanics of legal fiction and state secret. The monarchy survived by agreeing to live a lie. William will be king. George will follow him. But the truth sits in the vault, a genetic ghost that will haunt the House of Windsor forever. The CIA kidnapped the children to expose a shocking truth. In the end, the world chose the lie that preserved peace over the truth that would burn everything down. The children were saved, not for a fairy tale but for a continued performance where everyone knows the script is false, but the show, desperately, must go on.